And finally here, for those who it doesn't matter where they're spending or how much they spend, the Michael Jordan effect, alive and well as a fan dropped over $1 million in an auction to nab Jordan's signed flu game sneakers. All right, so and there you're taking a look at the sneakers. For those who don't know, this is the Jordan 12 here that he wore en route to one of his championships. These called the flu game Jordans. And the story behind it, of course, is he was probably poisoned, actually. He probably had some food poisoning.
No!
That's what they said in Last Dance. They said he probably had food poisoning, yeah.
But
the night before he was supposed to play the Jazz.
Someone poisoned him?
No.
Somebody dropped off food at his hotel room in Utah.
Okay. So there's a little bit of a conspiracy
here around these sneakers as well.
I mean, look, I'm just saying what they said on Last Dance. And they interviewed Jordan, so, I mean, I guess there's some truth to it. But the market is hot right now. Right. And I just wrote a story a couple weeks back on a Sotheby's private sale that was going forward about the Jordan Dynasty collection and where they were expecting some of those bids to come in. We had actually had someone on earlier on this year to say that entire collection could go for more than $100 million.
Wow. I mean, speaking of wealth, good Lord, that means money is no object.
Nothing
at all. I mean, and this wasn't even the highest sale on record for a pair of his Jordans.
Yeah,
you know?
And I mean, look, it's just going to continue to be interesting to see how some of the uber wealthy are, and especially those who are even more into sports than those who were probably uber wealthy before, because that's one thing that was interesting about what Sotheby's had told me about their consortium of buyers right now.
Yeah, right.
It's younger, it's more international, and you've got a lot of sports fans out there that are purchasing what's important to them in their fandom too.
And when you think about the total sneaker resale market, it continues to amaze me. I mean, I'm not a part of it, but I know many people who are. And it's said to reach a revenue of $51.2 billion by 2032. I mean, that's massive. In 2022, it was only $10.6 billion. Yeah. And those Michael Jordan shoes that you mentioned, I mean, those were $2.2 million that they sold for. Those are the 1998 NBA Finals sneakers. Okay. So getting up to date on my Michael Jordan sneaker fun facts, but it's just massive. And to think about how many people are pouring money into this, maybe, you know, they find wealth in this. They find value in this. And so it's certainly a hobby, would you say?
Yeah. And
it's got to be the shoes.
It's a cultural moment too, right? With Air, the release of that movie Air, Michael Jordan. I feel like people are talking about him more. I mean, and there's certainly, like we've been saying, there's a market for this, not just for sneaker resales, but sports memorabilia in general has just ballooned. There was a recent study that said the market was expected to touch $35 billion this year. And then in 2032, which is less than 10 years from now, it's going to reach more than $227 billion.
Yeah, and
that is crazy.
I'm not surprised by that. I mean, look, like you said, there's the market for that. There's a show that was going to be going on Netflix about just
Ken Golden's,
sports. Exactly.
Show.
That's it.
And I believe this was his sale.
I know.
Wow.
Yes, you're right. You're right. My son's already collecting cards and trying to figure out.
Oh boy, you're in trouble, Diane.
I know how much he can. But he's a businessman at heart. He wants to sell them. So we'll see. We'll allow that.
That's a big space. Trading cards, all this just adding to the dollar amount in that market.